Connections for Life. I'm your host, Ted Pete.
Chad Kubo. No?
What are you doing?
I have a tattoo gun. I got a tattoo gun.
Oh, it's a tattoo gun. I thought it was something else.
Come on, you didn't get the tattoo theme?
No. I really was going...
It looks like your kid scribbled on your face with Sharpie before you... And wait a minute. I don't know how many episodes we've done. How many episodes have we done?
This is 67.
This is 67?
Yeah.
That is the very first time in the intro you said, I'm your host.
That is the first time you said I was a little thrown off.
What are you, Art Linkletter?
No, you guys know what it is? By the way, that's Joe and Chad Kubo. You know what it was? I was describing the show, and I'm like, I'm one of the hosts of Connections for Life all week down at DCA, and I wore my pin for you, Joe. So I guess I got used to saying it.
Did you? Well, get used to unsaying it, because it sounded like you were bringing us into the Wink Martindale. You need the long mic with the little thing at the top.
Look at my backdrop this week. I'm getting classy, San Diego. Stay classy, San Diego.
Wow.
Apparently, we don't like sheep at Upsco.
No sheeple.
The message you couldn't read where you were sitting.
You couldn't read that.
You couldn't see the word.
One of our core values is sheep are not allowed into the building.
The worst part is we're going to get a message. Andy and Dan are going to get a message from PETA this week saying, I want to know why you have an anti-sheep stand.
Yeah. PETA's going to be after us or whatever the name of that place.
Company's getting sued. Show's getting shut down. All because I just.
And meanwhile, it's just no sheeple. Ted was just sitting in front of it.
Golly. So what's going on, guys? Joe, what have you been up to, buddy? How was your week?
Good. I don't know. We've been
it screws you up when it's Thursday, when we don't get to the
No, we've all just been busy, you know, like things going on. Like I feel like it's you know, it's like I feel like we were on like a roller coaster, right? And like COVID was like ratchet. And then we came flying down. And now like COVID's starting to come back and we're like ratchet back up again. I don't know. It's been good. I spent the day yesterday. I took a day off. I know you guys know that's rare for me, but I took a day off and
you're like 407 days left to take this year.
Yeah. I have like 8 weeks. But I went to the amusement park, water park with my kids for 10 hours yesterday.
Oh, that was a terrible experience.
Yeah, it was good. They had a great time. You know, I'm pretty sure that we all are exhausted this morning. Probably me more than them, but it was fun. There was a lot of people there. It was really, really busy. You know what killed me? I'm not going to say the name of the place because I don't want to alienate anybody, but if you do a little bit of understanding where I live, you'll figure it out pretty quickly where I was at. But there was signs all over the park that were like social distance and, you know, have to wear a mask. I didn't see anybody with masks.
And then you get in line and you're up against each other.
Yeah, pretty much, and no masks anywhere. Like there's like 4 people that had masks on the entire place, but it was cool. It was nice to be able to do that. We really wanted. It's kind of been a thing that's been done every year, and last year they weren't able to do it, and it kind of stunk. So they got a full day. I was telling Chad this morning. I pulled into the parking lot. I wanted to be the first person there. And I pulled in the parking lot and I was legitimately the first person like in the parking lot. There was a guy waiting to park people and he was like, oh, he's like waving me around. I'm like, there's no one else here. Like, it's not really that big of a deal where I park.
I'm number one.
But we were the first ones through the gate. So
rope drop. You call that rope drop.
Actually, I felt like Wally World when you walk in, the park's empty. You know, I have to like. Yeah.
Were they closed today? Were they closed?
Yeah, right. No, so it was good, but we had a lot of fun. Yeah. What about you guys?
Chad?
I don't remember. It's Thursday. I haven't done anything super exciting in the last 3 days. What I do?
We went to lunch.
I don't. Wow. Yeah, that's thrilling. Right. I mean, no, I haven't done anything exciting except, I'll talk about my one exciting thing that I tried to make work yesterday, which is our podcast equipment for AGA. I now have a new appreciation for people that are in sound technology.
Let's just say it's good we have a couple of months to work on it.
Yeah, it's good I didn't wait till the very end to order it because I can make one thing work at a clip, just not all 3 things together. So
if you decide to interview with us, we can hear you or you can talk, but we can't do it all at the same
time. We'll probably be screaming like this so you can hear us with your headphones on.
And I'm just thankful that I'm not the guy that has to deal with any of that. Thanks,
like
Chad.
usual.
Love you.
Thanks
Love
for
you.
the support, buddy.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
You know that at some point in time, your life's going to get infinitely more difficult, right? Like at some point in time, we're going to be like, hey, Teddy,
You got to do it. Your turn. Your turn.
Yeah.
Your turn. I'm just waiting.
We just haven't found anything that was easy enough that we.
You know why, Ted? You know why, Ted?
Me with.
You know why? Because move to the side. Because no sheeple, Ted. No sheeple.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. Love kills. Sorry.
No sheeple.
That's really nice, Chad. Anyways, so
well, my weekend was actually kind of calm in comparison to normal. We didn't have to, go to too many places or do anything. I got home on Saturday from DCA, but a thing that, as everybody knows, I'm a big basketball coach, and I got a program and stuff. And one of the places we go to all the time is this facility called Spooky Nook down in Manheim, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we've talked about
it, right?
Yeah, we've talked about it in the past, and it's the biggest complex in the Northeast. And there was, a shooting, an actual live shooter at the event on Sunday that was there, and that my team was going to be at if I didn't have to be at DCA.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And it was during the championship rounds, which we typically seem to make. And I just want to, I want to thank God for a minute that all the people that were hurt, it was minor injuries, and it was from evacuating in such a pace, but it was scary.
Does anybody know why? Like, I know that sounds stupid and maybe dumb to talk about, but
okay, I'm gonna go a little different angle here.
Okay. Which one do you want me to answer first?
No, this just always boggles my mind. Like when you have these active shooter situations, number one, it boggles my mind that anybody would feel the need to go do that. But the second thing is that I don't know how that happens and no one actually gets injured. Like you would feel like a stadium packed with people. Like
6 people, 12 people got injured, 6 people got hospitalized, 6 were treated for stuff on the scene. But there's question as to whether the firearm was actually used. I haven't seen the details on it yet, or it was just fired into the air, or whatever the case may be. But apparently, I'll say it. I've heard multiple conflicting stories, but I heard it was a player that went and got a gun out of his bag. Okay. Now, what's crazy to me is we've gone down there for several events over the course of the last couple of years, and there's typically a player coach entrance where we have to come through a metal detector. And they search your bags and all this stuff, right? And the player coach entrance. And then in the main entrance where all the fans come through, there's no bags allowed. There's a small purse and they check it and you go through, but there's not a metal detector, right? But they they'll wand you, okay? The last time I was down there, I thought it was really odd that there was no player coach entrance. We all came in the same. And therefore there was no metal detector, and they didn't check our bags really. They did a quick glance, but it wasn't like when we went to the player coach and the metal detector. And then
I guess they'll be going back to that, huh?
I think so.
Probably more than that.
Probably more than that now. Honestly.
So was it just somebody? It wasn't. It was.
I don't know the details. I've heard so much stuff. I don't want to say anything. I just wanted to thank God that nobody.
If you could come to the program with details about the story you're going to tell, it would be very helpful.
Well, it's like when I used to do my podcast with Jeff, and Jeff would like tell me the story, and I'd ask so many questions, and he'd have no answers to like the follow up.
Well, there's just so much conflicting reports right now.
I know. I'm just kidding.
So I don't want to spit something out there that
sucks. Though that's sad. And anytime that stuff happens, it's
I'm just glad no one was.
If you go online, you'll see teams like stream footage and stuff like that of it, where all of a sudden there's a game going on right here, and you see this wave of crowd running from the other end of the building. There was actually somebody who like tripped in the bleachers and got hurt, and a guy came. They were running out a door, and a guy like picks the person up, and they're dragging him to the door, and it was crazy. It was very crazy. So
see, that's why I get haircuts at home. I don't go outside. I went to the water park yesterday. That's it. I'm done. There's no more public appearances for me.
Until AGA, folks, where we will be staying.
Actually, KGA is a public.
Oh yeah. KGA
all right. Well, that's in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, KGA is August 24th and 25th, I believe.
Okay.
Remind me of
that. I will. Like Saturday.
Send them a 17th calendar alert, Chad. All right.
You have to check. It won't matter because he doesn't check his email, so
Joe, Chad, we're doing something a little different today. We're doing something a little bit different. Why don't you, one of you two, explain it? Because I didn't prepare for the show as usual.
Well, you are the host, so God only.
Apparently, yeah. That's all I got to do is introduce you guys.
You don't have to worry about the content. You just have to worry about this. All right, gotcha. I see.
I'm leaving now. I did my job. I'll see you
I see
later.
how this program's working out. Yeah. So one of the things that's been, and we've talked about it a little bit on this show, is this Pipes Act 2020. It came out August 7th in 2020, and basically it's without getting into the reading the entire bill. It's part of it is reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and for us in our industry, that's kind of near and dear, especially for us being a manufacturer of piping systems and threaded connections and potential leak areas. We just wanted to talk about that bill, maybe what it's going to look like going forward, some of the ramifications for it, and then we have a product that we'd like to talk about that might help facilitate gas utilities, if we're not using some type of composite repair system to work on live gas leaks, that this might be advantageous for you to take a look at. So I think I did a good job. Anybody else want to jump in there? Coops?
Could you repeat that, please?
No.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I wasn't paying attention.
Well,
no, you did an amazing job, Joe. It's exactly what we're going to talk about. I just think it's something that the industry needs to be more aware of. And once we get into a little bit here, you'll realize that some of the things we've come across, everybody has kind of a different opinion about. So it's definitely going to be good conversation.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you that haven't seen the bill, and I guess we can talk about it, it basically addresses pipeline methane emissions. And I don't want to take too much credit for the information that I'm going to read. This was given to us by the one and only Mr. Wonderful Dirk Smith from Ionics. But this bill addresses pipeline methane emissions that direct companies to conduct leak detection and repair programs that protect the environment and pipeline safety, that enables advanced leak detection technologies. The bill also requires PHMSA to study and implement best available technologies or practices to prevent or mitigate the release of natural gas when making planned repairs or maintenance, and when intentionally venting or releasing natural gas during blowdowns or other activities. Finally, the bill modifies the cost-benefit analysis required in all PHMSA pipeline safety rulemakings to include environmental benefits, which make it easier for PHMSA to basically promote the necessary leak detection and repair rulemakings. So that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot more. It's called S2299 if you want to look it up. It's about 1,000 pages. I don't know how long it is.
We spoke at both of the government affairs and government relations committees that I was at UCT in Nashville and then at DCA down in Orlando. They spoke about this bill and at length about the state of affairs of the natural gas industry and methane emissions and whatnot. And I believe, if I'm correct, that there's supposed to be a zero tolerance by 2030, and that comes directly from this bill. I want to say it's 2030, and I think we're all for it, but I think maybe we'll discuss it here.
Well, guys, I think that the biggest confusing thing for the utility operators, and I've talked to a handful about it, about the Pipes Act, is I think they all have different visions or different, what word am I looking for? They all view it differently as to what it means.
Interpretation.
It's a completely different thought process than how utilities deal with gas leaks now. Gas leaks now are graded by category essentially, and where they are and if they're unsafe it's based on safety essentially now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're trying not to have explosions. We're trying not to have all those leaks for safety reasons. Well, I think this whole act is going to change it and make it more about the environment, which means you can't have any leaks. Mm-hmm. And I just think the utilities are having a tough time getting through because like anything else the government does, it kind of says, if you write what you're going to do, you have to do it. And I think that's where the stumbling block is a little bit with them. They just don't know exactly what it means.
I think, but by the way, I want to point out there's a lot more to this bill.
We're talking about that stuff that affects us in our industry.
There's
and the high, it's very high level. I mean,
right. Because we can't read.
We aren't low level. Wait,
not so much here or here, but more down here.
Yeah, down here. We're like one step in a 2-mile journey. But no, I think there's some good technologies that exist currently out there, and one of the ones that we want to talk about is one of the products that obviously we represent, in Trident Seal, a product made by Clock Spring NRI. Try to say that 3 times fast, Joe. But before we get into that, I want to talk about there's other things too. There's other things that can be done. just reducing the amount of potential leak points on a meter set, whether it's reducing your threaded connections, doing redesigns. For us, that's something that we really want to focus on and look toward going forward, is that where we can make mitigation efforts into current designs and be able to just take some of the things that are already out there and be able to clean them up a little bit. So we've started doing that with some of our utilities, and hopefully we'll continue to do that. I think it's just a necessary evil. As Chad alluded to, the concern for gas leaks in the past was safety, right? It really wasn't emissions. It was
environmental.
Safety,
yeah.
Right. It was, is this okay? Can we leave this leak for a period of time because it doesn't create a potential, area of explosion or hazard, correct? And now it's, if it's leaking, it needs to be repaired is the way that I understand this. And I think that for a lot of organizations, that's scary. There's a lot of leaks out there that have been categorized and classed in such a fashion that aren't really their concern. I mean, I hate to say that in any other way,
or a pressing concern. There's other concern, but they fall lower in the hierarchy.
Here's the thing: if you have a farm tap that's leaking in the middle of a 35-acre cornfield, and the farmer drives past,
it's got a fuzz leak on it,
right? Like nobody's really that's more of a loss of not even revenue at a farm tap most of the time, but it's a loss of gas to them. It's a loss of product. Now it's an environmental
finable offense,
right? Which is crazy.
Eventually, it won't be now, but I mean, it is.
Which is crazy. Which is why Dirk is so involved in it too, because of his use with his anti-static spray, and static suppression stuff. And he's going to be very integral in the pinholing and all those other types of things that happen with that. But it's going to touch a lot of different departments. And like Joe said, one of our products that is Trident Seal. It's like the perfect resolution for it. I would be remiss without saying, though, to find some of those leaks, you could use the vapor extraction unit by MBW too. There was my shameless plug.
That's another.
Well, I think there's a few products that we probably offer that are going to be able to be used or utilized in maybe a fashion that in the past we hadn't looked at them or thought of them in that particular fashion.
You're right.
The VEU is awesome for taking obviously gas out of soil, but it's also used for pinpointing leaks. And I think sometimes that gets lost in the message. A very, very vital tool in pinpointing leaks. And I think I speak for all of us when we've probably been on a job or a demo in the past where they've had a leak in for 20 years that they couldn't find.
I find that hilarious where you'll go to utility and that's oftentimes the selling point to get them to even let you demo it for them. It's like, hey, give me your biggest pain in the backside leak. And if I can help you, your oldest one, whatever the case may be. So
this one was leaking when my boss retired 30 years ago.
Yeah. And then we find it in 3 hours and they're like, that's it. Yeah. Hey, you want to buy it? They're like, no. You
guys found our leak. Yeah.
We found it. Thank you.
If you don't know, Trident Seal is a live gas leak repair system up to 60 pounds, meaning you don't have to shut down your service. You can install it on pipe diameters up to 6 inches. There's a lot of features, benefits, applications. I'm going to let Chad touch on some of those.
So typically you'd think that a threaded leak would be a really tough thing to repair. That's kind of just where you start with Trident. So you can do threaded fittings, manifolds, meter sets, pinholes, things on main lines, pretty much everything up to 6 inch. It's a live gas leak repair. So
above and below grade.
Above and below grade. Thank you, Joe.
That's a great feature and benefit, Joe. Some of the other ones are, it comes supplied as a complete kit, and it's honestly one of the quickest and easiest installations you'll ever have to deal with in the natural gas industry. It saves a tremendous amount of time. There's no hot work involved, no mixing or mess made. There's no contractor required to put it in, and you don't have to shut the customer down. You don't need any special tools. Everything's provided to you in a complete kit, and it's one of the best products that are existing in the natural gas industry right now.
Also, it's really affordable, and it saves a lot of time and money. So for us going through the emissions and trying to reduce leak points and connections and clean up our systems, this is a great product for those of you that don't know. For more information, you can reach out to any one of us on LinkedIn or via email, or visit our website at www.upscoinc.com. And
I think I'd be remiss without saying, I think we've sold over 10,000 kits as well with no documented failures. I think that's a really big.
I thought it was 30,000.
It might be 400,000. No, it's a lot. It's more than you can think about.
Anyways, if you guys want more information, reach out to us. We'd love to help you and supply with it.
Thanks, guys.
Teddy, why don't you flash up on the screen if you can, the Trident seal, what is it, one sheeter, and let's just go through that and talk about it a little bit. Can you
is that good? Let me get it a little bigger here.
My favorite is it says Joe Trident seal, because
that's how I saved it.
Wow.
See why? How do I get rid of the thing over here now?
Oh my God, this is our level of technical aptitude.
There we go.
There's a thing right there that's there you go.
Yes. At least we didn't.
I'm working on
practice that before we got on.
I am working on a 13-inch screen today, as opposed to 3 monitors. This is a little different. Give me some grace.
Right. So we kind of talked about this, I believe, in the whatever you want.
You're gonna see our little
ad read. A promotion ad read for this.
Actually, you've already seen it. You're not.
Yeah, you've already seen it.
Yeah, you've already seen it. We already talked about it. We recorded that a few days ago. Something new we're trying to do.
Joe, let's not. I don't know if can you scroll down, Ted? I don't want to read this again, but let's just talk about, I'll talk about just when I was kind of introduced to Trident Seal when I came to work for UPSCO.
We can also go through the application methodology. I have that.
Absolutely, and I think this might take us into it. I'll never forget Joe's been the lifelong Trident Seal trainer at UPSCO for pretty much anybody that has ever come new. He's done like 72 trillion trainings. But literally, he took me outside.
My hands still have gray epoxy on them.
In a half hour, he had me apply 2 kits, and both to essentially pinhole leaks, or one to pinhole, one to threaded, that it sealed up pretty quickly and immediately. So it kind of sold me immediately. What'd you say?
Cat's failed both times, but
I sealed the leak. That's because I turned the pressure down. I turned the pressure down.
It was not the product's fault. Total installer error.
But we I mean, this product's been used for over, what is it now? Probably 15 years, 10 to 15 years, Ted, right around there. I know you know a lot about it.
And it's an insane amount of installs without ever having a failure as well. So one of the things that I find so amazing about this product is,
please scroll back up. It's makes me feel weird to just stare at that.
Well, fine then.
Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought now. Thank you. No, one of the things that I find so amazing about this product is it's a permanent repair. And that when we talk about these emissions here, all right, oftentimes, we spoke how leaks are categorized by class 1, class 2, class 3, right? And the acceptable repair for a low class leak was sometimes grease over the pinhole or whatever. And then they'll come get back to it later when it's of higher priority. Well, with this product, you don't have to deal with that. And you don't have to shut off the gas. You don't have to do anything. And it's a permanent repair that's never going to leak again. Like, it's so amazing. It's as awesome as it is practical. One-stop shop and you're done. So that's my favorite personal story with it. What about you, Joe, the master trainer?
You guys, my favorite story is kind of funny. Can we clear that off the screen now?
Yes, sir.
My introduction to Trident Seal, I had been at UPSCO for about 2 weeks, and I didn't know anything about anything. And I was told to go out and meet a sales rep who's not long with us any longer, but at a facility, at a local customer. And I get up there and we kind of get everything set up. I've never even seen Trident Seal. I don't even know what it is. And we had to get started late. So we started late, and about halfway through the demonstration and the training, the sales rep got mad because the guys that we were training they were union and they had to leave for lunch. So they left for an hour for lunch. And the training guy I was with got mad and was like, I'm not waiting here and doing this. I'll show you how to do it, and then you can train them. So he gave me about a 14-minute crash course in Trident Seal and left. And I had to train 20 experienced gas operators on Trident Seal by myself. And I had known about it for about 15 minutes. And that was the beginning. Unfortunately, they were very gracious and nice guys. They were very patient with me because I had no idea what I was talking about. And that was my first introduction. And now, as you guys have stated, I have done trainings for the last however long. I think I've trained everybody in the company at some point in time. I know Ted's been on more than one with me. Chad's been on more than one.
You're also a really good training fabricator for like any of the piping systems you have to build.
Oh my God, these are so good.
Well, when you do them 1,000 times, you gotta get.
I gotta tell this brief one. So Joe and I met because he had to take me to get Trident Seal trained, and we were we were doing it in Adam Clary's territory down in York, Pennsylvania. So Joe and I meet on Wednesday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon, and we ride down together, and that was how we met. And we did a 4-hour car ride together. We get there, and we set up and everything, and then the next day we get there and we start training. And now he had trained me like while we were setting up so that I was qualified, right? So then we're doing this class the next day, the two of us and Adam, and one of the guys remarks, he goes, "How long have you two idiots had this road show going? You guys got a good dynamic bouncing back and forth." And we're like, "We met yesterday." And they were like, "Oh, shut up. No, seriously." And we're like, "No, seriously. We met yesterday and took a drive down here together. We've never done this before, ever." Yeah. And I think it's kind of funny because now it's a precursor to the dynamic that we ended up having here. I kind of became the third stooge with you two. So.
Well, another interesting fact about that day is that was the day that Columbia Gas also had that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Right. That's right.
I remember that.
Right in the middle of our training.
Yeah, that was
like we gotta go, right?
All right, so let's add too far down the storytelling board. Oh, there's Ted. Okay. Ted, can you?
I thought he jumped off a bridge.
Ted, can you give me control so I can share?
Yes, I think I can.
I think I can.
I'm gonna try.
There you go, buddy.
I thought this would be something cool. We can all just go through this relatively quickly and chat about it if you guys want. Can you guys see it? Tell me when you can see it.
There it is.
All right. So this is the training that we do. And I just want to go through it to give people an understanding of the components, how it's applied. And we don't have to do a full like classroom presentation. Just if we could just all kind of chip in and talk about each piece and part of it, and we'll skip through slides, but I didn't want to, you guys cool with that?
Absolutely.
All right. So this is basically, we kind of talked about the training. This is required for anybody that wants to install this on live gas lines. Above or below grade. This is the kind of the in-class training that we do. It's there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more that goes along with it. We're not going to train everybody on the.
It's done so everybody knows it's done every 3 years. You need to have that. What we've been trying to add to some of our customers and some utilities training is to get it added to their LMS systems and things like that to keep track of it. In the past, Trident Seal kind of used to, or Clock Spring and I used to try and keep track of that, and it just got to be too much. So. Go ahead, Joe. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just thought it was a good thing.
No, it's cool, guys. So as we talked about, this could be used on pinhole leaks. It could also be used on threaded connections. This goes from half inch to 6 inch.
Yep.
1/2 inch to 6 inch. Yep.
Three different kits or three different kit sizes.
Yeah. And this is kind of what it looks like when it's done. It basically looks like in your pipe, there's been a boa constrictor that ate a rat and its belly's just bloated. That's what it looks like. So these are just composite wraps with some epoxy underneath. We'll talk about those, but composites have been utilized for leak repair for years. It reinforces pipe for several industries and industrial fields. This isn't just the natural gas. So they use composites.
Lots of refineries.
Yeah.
Now, one of the other things we just to piggyback on what you guys are saying here, Joe gave the boa constrictor reference. One of the things that we talk about in our training is to prep the utility or the contractor that's putting this in place to inform the customer, hey, it's not bubbling out. That's what it looks like with the full repair now, so that you don't get a call the day after it's fixed and go, no, my pipe is expanding. So
you'll get we'll cover that a little bit more detail when we talk about this going forward. Everything that you need comes in a really small kit. They're relatively inexpensive. They're pretty available. Again, from 1/2 inch up to 6 inch.
I think anywhere from like $150 to $400 a kit. Somewhere around.
I don't even think they're that much. I think they're like the lowest is like 80 for the smaller one, but
they're not anymore.
Don't quote it. Don't quote it.
Just went up for the ad read.
Oh, got it. So these, again, we talked about it, work up to live lines up to 60 pounds. These will work on steel, copper, PVC. Just so you know, I know that we don't talk about that much because it doesn't really infiltrate our industry, copper or PVC very often, but for those listening or might be interested, it does. So non-toxic, odor-free, and it sets relatively quickly. You can do a repair from start to finish in probably 15, 20 minutes. Wouldn't you guys say?
Max. Yeah. That's very accurate.
So we start off normally, we'll skip through this. We do a classroom presentation, a training video demo, installation session, and then we do a test in some fashion or format. A lot of guys move these around and how they do them, but that's kind of the procedure for training. Chad, you want to just take this one?
Yeah, so most of the applications, it says right here, up to 60 PSI. That's a fair amount of PSI that this thing just seals right up. And you know as well as I do that I've sealed up to about 110 PSI. Not that you're supposed to, but you obviously have been able to do it because they kind of screw with you. When you actually go to NRI and they do the stuff, they force you to take you out of your comfort zone a little. Lots of used on those threaded joint leaks and also pinhole leaks. Some of the other things that you're going to need that do not come in the package, pretty much everything is self-contained in that package. You're going to need a wire brush just for cleaning off any of that loose scale, loose rust, things like that. You're going to need leak detection soap. You're going to need leak detection soap, obviously to find your leak beforehand, but also after we do our first layer of repair or second layer of repair, we're going to check it again to make sure it's not leaking anymore. And then we're going to need some water, which is going to be used to activate the outer wrap, and then also just a rag, which is to wipe off some soap and just anything to get anything gone.
Yeah. Moving on to the kit, as Chad said, everything comes in the kit. So this sheet that's off to the right here, this little handy dandy piece of paper comes with all of the kits. It's a step-by-step instruction along with an MSDS, which is on the back. You can't really see it, but there's sizing and all kinds of application information here. Comes with a sanding cloth, cleaning wipes, 2 sets of protective gloves, the putty, which is used to actually stop the leak, the pressure sealing tape, outer wrap, and compression film. And we're just going to quickly blow through those just to let everybody, we'll give a quick, maybe just 1 minute on each one of those talking about them. Past that. So surface prep, Chad, that's your area
of expertise.
So one of the interesting things that we're actually trying to do with this is we're not worried about an anchor profile like we are with coating so much. We're looking more like if you've ever done a CAD weld or exothermic weld, we're trying to make it a shiny surface. We don't really need it to have, like I said, the anchor, the mountains in it. We just need it to be clean because the epoxy putty that you're going to see is almost like a little JB weld. It's the next step. It just needs something good to adhere to, something nice and clean with no contaminants.
As Chad said, you want to bring a wire brush, but a sanding cloth and a solvent wipe is included in the kit, which is again used for the surface prep. Start with the wire brush, sanding cloth, and then clean with the solvent wipe. Yeah, look at that.
Per described in the following pictures.
Wow.
Sanding, I actually didn't do that on purpose. And sanding cloth, and I wish I did. I want to take credit for it, but I didn't.
Does everybody notice that Joe continues to say sanding cloth, not sandpaper? Because that is sanding cloth, not sandpaper.
You could technically use sandpaper.
You could use sandpaper. It's easier with the cloth just because you can kind of go back and forth on it.
One of the cool things about the cloth is because it's able to be bent and stuff. You can kind of round off there's no square pipe. So yeah. Just like that, Chad. Next is the putty. As you can see, it's green there, but Chad, you want to touch base on the putty?
Ted's going to talk about the putty.
Oh, Ted can do putty.
Yes, thank you. So it's a 2-part steel enforced epoxy putty. It begins with a outer grayish color and an internal yellow color. All right. And what you're going to do is rip off the size that you need to cover the pinhole leak that you have, and you're going to mix it together. All right. Some of the tips and tricks of the trade are you want to have it must be mixed at 50 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. So we say put it in your pocket, put it on the dash of your truck, whatever the case may be, to get it to about room temperature.
If it's a cold day.
If it's a chilly
Don't
day.
make it hotter than it needs to be though, because it'll set up and
then it sets up too fast.
Yeah, it'll start to set. But the trick to it is green means go. All right. So you'll mix the yellow and the gray together and it'll come.
It's actually a dark green outer coating. It kind of is a grayish, but it's like a.
I think Ted's just got color blind problems.
Yeah, it's green. Maybe you shouldn't do the putty.
Well, it's gray to me in yellow, and I've never had anybody contradict me unless it was Joe. So, but no, green means go. You mix it together, and it's non-hazardous, non-toxic. It's specially formulated for natural gas repairs. It's a tremendous part of the kit. It's what does the work in reality. That's what's gonna harden, and it's going to actually become tougher than the pipe that it's being adhered to.
There's a little float in of mixing it together.
It's like 100 green.
Yeah, that shows you what the like for a threaded connection, the application
what you would do.
That epoxy, yeah. This shows you pinhole. Obviously, it's a little ball to go over the pinhole leak. Pressure sealant tape. This is the next layer that basically go ahead, Chad.
Ted kind of said, and we can go over those things, but he kind of said that's what does the work. It's the epoxy. I disagree with him a little. It does the sealing, but the actual, like in my eyes, the actual work is done by that tape, because you could like press that epoxy on with your hand and make it stop. But without that pressure of that tape wrapping around there and squeezing it down, that's what's really making that seal. There's
a combination.
They work together. I don't think one would work without the other very well.
Right, but the pressure sealing tape is only required until it sets. Once that sets, the putty is actually what's preventing that leak. It adheres to the pipe. You could actually
correct. Yes, that makes sense.
I don't want to get too far deep into that, but
I was just going to start arguing with Ted just for fun.
Yeah, right.
It's what they do. It's what they do.
Don't they? I actually defended you in this one, and now I'm in.
For one time.
Calm down. You're the host.
There it is. Ding ding. We're back to the normal scheduled program.
This overwraps the putty. Again, as Chad said, the tension that you put on there actually squeezes and forces that into the pinhole or into the threaded leak, into the threaded connection where there might be a leak. All of this product must be used, and it's a pretty simple application. We don't need to spend too much time on the pressure sealant tape. But this is a few photographs of the installation. You start off to the left of or to the right of the defect.
Anchor point.
There's an anchor point, and then all of the tape must be put on at that point. You don't cut it off. You use every bit of layer on top of itself, and every layer acts as additional compression to push that putty or that epoxy deeper into the defect. So at this point, you're gonna stop, verify with leak detection soap. At this point in time, your leak should be sealed. If you do not want to move on to the next step because there's no coming back from the next step. This is where at this point in time, if you still are showing leaks or any bubbles at this point, you can take that pressure tape off and reapply it with some additional putty. There's enough in a kit to give you enough ample opportunity to do this once, twice, maybe even 3 times. If it's
also to patch any spots in your bumper on your car or anything like that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Everybody tells you like, oh, I keep every one of those putties. I'm like,
yeah.
I know.
The next is encapsulation. Chad, I'll let you touch this one. This is or Chad, doesn't matter.
No, this is totally Chad.
So go ahead.
So essentially we're just putting a glass outer wrap on there. It's fiberglass.
Once you verify that the leak is stopped.
Yes. Once we verified there is no leak, we're going to put our outer wrap on there. And essentially it's a water activated fiberglass, which means once you open the bag, it comes in a silver bag, but once you open that bag, it automatically starts to cure. So you never want to open it and not be ready to use all of it, which is part of the requirement as well. Kind of like the pressure tape. And what you're going to do when you open that bag is you're going to pour some water in there. That's going to make it set up even faster than just the humidity in the air. But essentially all it's doing is being a mechanical protection for the sealant tape. This gets hard as a rock, just like you're wearing a cast on your leg, like you broke your leg or your arm. It's pretty much the same thing. And like I said, it serves no other purpose more or less than just to protect that repair.
During the curing time.
Exactly. During really you could leave, during the whole time, you'd probably leave it there.
Well, you do leave it there, but like you could remove it once it's cured, and essentially it'd be more work than it's worth, obviously. But
you couldn't.
But yeah,
how are you going to remove it?
You could. You can cut it off. It's hard as a rock. It's
hard as a rock. Yeah.
I don't think anybody's cutting it off.
Why would you even bring that up?
Because I'm a terrible person, and I'm not good at it.
I'm a terrible person.
Don't cut it off.
Wow, you went right there, huh?
I cut to the chase.
As sad as Chad had said, it strengthens the area. It's not an approved coating system. It is UV stabilized, but please follow your company's standards, whether it's to paint over it. It is paintable. Most people do hit it with a can of something just to give it another layer. But don't do that yet. So this is just showing the encapsulation, as Chad had alluded to, the silver pouch, the water. You're going to add that in there, let it sit for 10 to 15 seconds, just making sure it soaks it up. And then you're going to apply it. Again, as Ted said in the last thing, create your anchor point and then put the outer wrap on.
Now, if you notice, you see that, I was going to say that little twist is is a pretty important part of it. As you put it on and as you get, as you're taught when you're going through this training, that cinching method that's being applied down in the bottom right corner there is what really adheres it down, and it makes it more visually
sucks it in.
appealing.
It gets rid of the any potential air spaces or voids where water or moisture could sit and create more of a problem.
It makes it really makes it pull together so the layers are one layer after it's done.
And the last thing would be the compression film. It's basically in layman's terms, saran wrap. You put that on, and basically what that does is it just holds everything tight, that outer wrap tight, so it can really bond to itself and not leave any voids or loose ends and things like that. You can leave that on if you'd like. Most people leave it on for 5 or 10 minutes and then they take it off once it's set up. And then at that point, again, coat with
something that I'd be remiss, you touched on it, Joe, a little bit, but one of the biggest, I don't want to say complaints, but one of the biggest things that guys say is after this stuff cures, it's hard as a rock and it becomes a cut point. And I've cut my hand on many of moisture here of fiberglass, because if you don't seal down those ends with that compression film and you leave just a little thing sticking up there, it's like a knife, and you run your hand over it, it's going to cut your hand bad. So that's one of those things that keeps it safe too.
Gotcha. Good point, Chad. And that's pretty much, you shows you're putting on the
compression. Oh, you got to put the holes in it too with your wire brush.
Yeah. And that's so it can.
That's for off gas.
Correct. It'll bubble up, and a lot of people think that it's releasing, that it's still leaking at that point. It's not. That's why we do the leak point check after the compression tape and not after this, because once you're at this point, the leak's stopped. You're not getting that off after it cures, unless you're Ted, apparently. Sorry. Wire brush, and that's it. And that's NRI. I think that's probably their old facility. South Florida in Lake Park. I think they're still in Lake Park. I don't really know. But
they're in a different part. Not that facility any longer.
They're in Pond Park.
That's it. So that's Trident Seal. And one of the reasons we bring that up again is I want to go back to that Pipes Act. It's S2299. You can look it up if you want. There's a lot of good information on there. Check it out. And hopefully if you guys have any questions, look us up. It's something that a lot of our gas utilities, there's Ted, there it is. A lot of our gas utilities use, most use it for permanent, some for just preventative or for temporary, but it is approved permanently. And it's something that I think is going to be very advantageous for people to take advantage of as these rules and these acts and these regulations come down, and there's going to be more of a focus on methane emissions. So I don't want to beat the horse completely to death. I think we did, but I mean, that's it. I don't know if you guys have anything else.
I just wanted to hit one time before we stop at the Trident Seal talk is how many kits was it, Ted? Over 10,000 or something. It's some crazy.
I think it's like 20 or 30,000, honestly.
We could double back on that and figure it out. But I have a presentation somewhere where that was actually calculated. It was a year or so ago, so I'm sure that
huge number of no known failures, of no reported failures. I mean, I'm sure there's times where people have gotten out there and they can't get it on there for it to work correctly, depending on environmental conditions or things like that. But once that thing's on there, it works. It's definitely proven.
I just think, in the times where we're really making a focus to being more environmentally conscious, reducing methane emissions is probably, you hear a lot about CO2. CO2 is not the problem. It's the methane that's actually the problem. And that's, I think, the reason for this push. And I believe that, this is a product that people can take advantage of that's going to cure some problems for them. That's relatively cost effective. All of those words work. And also at the same time, not interrupting services. And that's going to be a big key to this, because anytime you have to go out, it costs money to turn a service off and turn it back on, and all the things that are associated with that. So, if you're interested and you want more information, give us a shout. Check it out on, upscoinc.com, or I'm sure you can find Clock Spring NRI's website. We're the reps in this area, which is the Northeast, technically, and some parts of the Midwest, but there's several other vendors that do what we do all around the country. And a little tire pump to those guys. Reach out to your local people. It's something that product that might be beneficial for you. So.
That was really good, Joe. Do you want to, before we let these fine people go back to their normal day, do we just
scheduled programming?
Yeah. Do we want to wrap up just with talking about some of the trade shows again and stuff we got going on?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Joe and I will be at Kentucky Gas Association, which right now has over 400 people registered and 107 vendors, which is seems like a lot. We'll find out when we get there. That's what the email keeps coming out and saying.
Does that mean only like 60 people are actually registered because all the rest of the people are vendors?
I mean, yeah, there's 40 customers and 360 vendors.
Right.
But that's going to be fun. It'll be my first real show back. And then we have a very, very, very busy October, having AGA essentially almost that first week of October where that's going to be almost like our fun. That's going to be our thing for the year. It really is.
Yeah, that's the big one.
We're coming in swinging. It's going to be great.
All right. Don't set the bar too high.
Next week I'll feel different.
Yeah, done.
We might be there that week.
Chad opened up some new microphones and toys, so he's feeling really confident. But
until I put them together and make them work. But then we also, the week of October, I believe it's the 19th, we're going to be at SGA, and we're going to be hosting a game show with Coffee and with Jim and James, the most ridiculous game show or game show extravaganza, I believe. Game show jackpot it's called. But I think we're going to have, depending on the amount of prizes, a bunch of different games for you guys to play. We have some really fun, creative ideas to be interactive. So all you 3 people that are going to show up to watch us, I hope you all come ready to play.
I just want to point out, you kind of glossed over it really quick. That's with Jim Shower and James Cross from EWN Coffee with Jim and James. They're equally as important to this whole concept and thing that we're doing. So I don't want to I want to give them their little pump. So
I can't wait. I'm recording. I'm actually going on the show with them next week.
Me too.
We're all recording next week, but I'm really excited to when it comes out. I got to see my preview of the questions. And I'm excited for him. And
did you give him any topics, Teddy, to talk
No.
about? No. I was like, you can ask me whatever you want.
I'm the only one that follows instructions. See,
what's amazing is the fact that that's the most preparation you've done for anything in 3 years.
Ever.
That's not true. Maybe like 3 months.
All right. No, so I think we've ate these people's time up. Do we have anything we want to say before we let them go?
Please subscribe, and do all that stuff. It helps us so much. It really does.
It means the world to us too. It touches our heart dearly.
I don't know about all that, but it helps.
Well, it touches my host heart dearly.
Your host heart. Okay.
Host heart.
We gotta go.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Goodbye, Joe.